Brad, can you just talk about what went wrong in the third quarter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was. If you look at it from our perspective, it's what went wrong. If you look at it from theirs, they ratcheted up the defense quite a bit. It was hard for us to break their wall of defense. You know, they were pushing into us. They were very, very athletic at a number of positions, and they ratcheted it up. You know, and it was hard for us to handle that pressure. And when we drove, they collapsed and used their athleticism to affect us in the paint. They were very good. I mean, their defense was fantastic in the third quarter.
Were there some quick shots in that stretch for you guys? And secondly,
Maybe the last stretch.
yeah, and how
Maybe
much, and how big is just ball movement for your team? I mean, it seems
Yeah,
like
but
it's like the key for someone.
Yeah, it's key, but that's what they were taking away. You got to drive the ball when you're being pressured like that at 25 feet and they're in the passing lanes and everything else. So you have to be able to generate a paint touch before the ball movement against that type of pressure. And, again, it wasn't the whole night. I thought we were pretty good in the first half, but then they went to a different level in the third quarter.
In terms of the pick and roll, what kind of difficulties does Kyle Lowry present to a defense?
Yeah, he's really good. I don't know how in-depth to get, but he can go left, he can go right, he draws fouls going either way, he uses his body, he can step back and shoot, he can finish in the rim, he's a good passer off of it. Yeah, he's good. He was dominant tonight.
Coach, Al has led you guys in assists 3 games in a row now. Just what's been his impact as a playmaker lately?
I think it's one of his great qualities is his passing. So, I mean, I thought that before we got him, but, we're trying to make an emphasis of when he catches it, making sure we're cutting well.
Coach, DeMar DeRozan, he had 24 points, but he took 25 shots to get it. Talk a little about just defensively the approach to dealing with him, a high-volume scorer in this league.
Well, Avery guarded him for a lot of the game and did a really good job. I thought Jay did a pretty good job on him late when he was on him. So try to make it as tough as you can for him and go from there. I thought, he made some big plays. DeMar made some big plays, but I thought Kyle and Norman Powell were the ones that killed us.
And obviously a different player than Russell Westbrook, but just playing elite scores like that, talk about just your team getting into that routine, that rhythm of dealing with those type of scores in this league.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with outstanding players every night. Obviously, there's some that, have earned their all-star status and their Olympic status and everything else. But, it doesn't stop for us. We've got a bunch of good ones coming up.
Brad, just wanted to get your impression of the bench tonight. I think early on they had a stretch where they had like 22 points in the first quarter, and with Marcus going to the starting lineup, your significance you place in that group producing the way they did.
They were good in the first. I mean, everybody struggled in the second, but they struggled in the second when again in the third quarter when they turned it up. I think that we were pretty good as a team. I don't look at it as bench and starters. I know everybody else does, but it's 9 guys or 10 guys that play, and we got to play well as a team, whoever's in the game.
Brad, I don't know if you've been asked this, but does Toronto kind of have a mental advantage over you guys, just the success they've had in the recent past? It kind of seemed like they were going to make a run, and then they did, and you guys were able to respond.
I don't really look at those types of things. I just think about what's going on in the next play, and you try to win the next play and do it to the best of your ability. They have really good players that made huge plays. Kyle Lowry was terrific. Kyle Lowry was who he is, and Norman Powell made big plays today. He was, I thought, a huge difference in the game. And then DeRozan did just enough. He didn't have his typical shooting night, but he puts a lot of pressure on you because he takes one of your best defenders, at the very least, off of somebody else.
Brad, when you tend to play these teams that have better records than you, you guys sort of lose hold late. What is this a kind of a measuring stick kind of thing?
We still have a ways to go. And I think that that's something that we have to just keep working again to get to the point where we are so good in controlling what we can for the 48 minutes, because we've talked about it many times. If we play well against anyone in the league, then we have a chance to win. If we don't play well, we'll lose. And that's just the way it is. And so, like, we have to get better more consistently for that whole 48 to play and to ultimately be successful against this caliber of team.
Coach, when you look at it, do you look at it saying if Isaiah is in there in terms of adding to what happened and how you look back at that game?
You know, obviously he's a harder guy as far as pressing up on, and you know he can with his ability to drive the ball. But you know, Damari Carroll didn't play for them. There's no excuses from the standpoint of not having a player available for us.